Hi everybody, and thanks for stopping by. Today, on this very hot day, we're going to get up to 100 degrees at least, I'm going to be smoking something different. I'm going to be making what I call smoked beef nuggets. And we're going to start with chuck roasts to get to this, and I'll show you how to do everything every step of the way. I've got my smoker going outside. I'm going to be using hickory and mesquite, probably a little more hickory than mesquite today. And it's probably going to be about a total 6-hour cook time. We're going to do it in 2 stages. The first stage, we're going to take the chuck roasts to about 150 degrees. Then we're going to turn them into nuggets. And then we're going to put some sauce, some flavoring on them, and put them back on the smoker for probably another couple hours until we get to somewhere between 190, 200 degrees so that they are just super tender. So let's get started. So here I have 3 chuck roasts. They vary in weight. This one over here is about 2 3/4 pounds. This one's a little closer to 4. This one's almost 3. So we're looking at roughly, I don't know, between 9 and 10 pounds of chuck roast here. So it's going to be a good amount of meat for today. Okay, I have my gloves on here so that I can get the rub on these chuck roasts. And I'll put the exact proportions for what's in the rub in the video description. But it's basically a pepper, garlic powder, salt, paprika, chipotle chili powder, brown sugar mix with not much salt. I didn't want to go too heavy on the salt in these because we're going to get a lot of flavor from both the smoke and what we're going to do at the end to turn these into these smoked beef nuggets. We're also not going to go super heavy in caking these with the rub. We want to get a good coating. I don't know if you guys do this, but I always taste my rub before I put it on anything. Mix it up and just kind of wet the tip of your finger and take a little bit and taste it. That way you know, do you need to add something or are you doing good? Let's make sure we get these sides also on these chuck roasts, and then we'll flip them over. Okay, want to make sure we get the back sides of these rubbed up nice also. And again, try and get every little cranny that you got here. We don't want it super cakey, but we want to make sure that that flavor has a chance to get into every exposed part of the meat. And there we have our chuck roasts all rubbed up. We're going to set these aside for a few minutes, just let these absorb some of this rub, and then we'll get them on the smoker. Our temp is looking good. We've got very thin smoke coming out right now. We are ready to get these chuck roasts on the Oklahoma Joe's Highland offset smoker. I'm going to put the thickest chuck roast right in the center here. That'll give me a good reading on temp. Second biggest to the right. We just get our probe in this center chuck roast. Try and get it all the way there in the middle. Okay, we have an internal meat temp of 39 degrees, and our pit temp is 196 before we close the door. I'm going to close this up and leave these on here for 2 hours untouched. I have all 3 water pans full of water. In about 2 hours, I'll come out and I'm going to spritz these with some apple juice. I'll do that again at hour 3. Probably about hour 4, we're going to be near the temp where we want to take them off the pit temporarily, cut them into the nuggets before we put them back on. But everything here is based upon temperature at this stage. If we get there a little early, we'll take them off. If it takes a little longer, we'll leave them on. The final test at the end of the day is going to be tenderness. So we will know that it's going to be at temp, but we want to make sure we have that tenderness when we have our nuggets in the foil pans with their sauces. So I'm going to go ahead and close this up now. These are internal temps about 99, and our pit temp's dropping 214, so it's about time to put another piece of wood on. We'll let that mesquite catch. All right, our mesquite has caught, so I'm going to close up the firebox lid, let it build temp back up. You can see there I've got my little battery-powered fan assist going to kind of push a little more air into the firebox. I have the door of the firebox mostly wide open so that fan can blow air in there. Still have really nice thin smoke coming out of the smokestack. Okay, we're about 2 hours into the cook. We've got a pit temperature of upper 230s, meat temperature of 131. It's time to spritz these now with some apple juice. Oop. Those are looking good. Looking very good. Got a nice color going on these. See if you can see that there, one of the water pans, and actually 2 of the 3 are at this level, are down by half in just 2 hours. So you can see how important it is to maintain moisture in your cook chamber here. In another 2 hours, those will probably be bone dry. Let's get these spritzed. Just want to keep a good amount of moisture on the outside of these now. Time to close it back up and keep cooking. So our wood is fairly well burned down there. I'm going to add another piece of hickory. Our hickory is catching. I'm going to close up the firebox. All right, our internal meat temperature right now is at 153. It's been just about 4 hours. And I'm going to be taking this off now to prepare it for step 2 in creating these smoked beef nuggets. Now after I take these off, I'm not going to be shutting the pit down because I'm going to keep using it. In fact, I'm going to stoke it with more wood as soon as I take these inside to prepare because I want to keep the temp up. Oh, look at those. Those are looking gorgeous. Nice looking chuck roasts, but they still have more to go. All right, let's get these off here. Let's get the temp probe out. That is looking pretty. Look at that. I'm going to close this back up because we want to keep the heat building. All right, so here is one of our chuck roasts. This I think is might be the biggest or second biggest, I'm not sure. All we're going to do is we're going to cut this into cubes, chunks, whatever you want to call it. It's not done. I mean, you could eat it, but it's not tender. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going slices maybe an inch thick, a little more, a little less. Doesn't really matter. Remember, our internal temperature on this was about 153 when we took it off. If we were going straight through, we'd want it to get to at least 190, but closer to 200 would be even better. All right, so here you can see the inside of this, what it looks like. It's looking very nice. Looks almost like prime rib, and you can see the smoke ring right in here. We're getting a nice smoke ring. Let me show you here. You can see that smoke ring. So we're doing good, but we're going to keep cutting this now into chunks. Let me demonstrate what I'm going for here. Take it over here on the side and you can watch me. I'm going to cut it into shorter strips like this. It's going to be very juicy right now. You're going to have a lot of juice flowing everywhere, so be prepared for it. So really what we're looking for are pieces about this big. Just like that, you can see. And once we have pieces that big, we're going to put them in our foil pan. And we're just going to pile everything in the foil pan like that. We're going to keep cutting, making our nuggets. Want them to all be roughly the same size. They don't have to be perfectly the same size. It's not that kind of thing. So this is what we're going to end up with here. A small foil pan with a bunch of beef nuggets in it, basically. And we're going to cover this with barbecue sauce. Today I'm going to be using some Sweet Baby Ray's. Can you see that? It's just their original. I'm going to be covering this. We want to get a lot in there, and then we're going to stir it up. Now once we have this coated, everything coated with barbecue sauce, we're going to add a little bit of apple juice to the pan. You could choose another sort of liquid if you want, but apple juice works well here. Just a little bit, maybe half a cup. Now we're going to seal this tight with foil. We're going to double layer this because we want to hold in all the steam that's going to be generated when we put this back on our pit. All right, we're ready to get our foil pans full of our smoked beef nuggets back on the Oklahoma Joe's Highland. Let's close this up and start building temp again. Got our piece of hickory on there. Let's let it catch, and we'll close it up so we can get this temperature up again. Finish these smoked beef nuggets off. All right, our smoked beef nuggets should be done. Let's get them off the cooker. Our smoked beef nuggets are done, and don't they look delicious? Time to taste. These look and smell delicious. Let's see how they taste. See that? That is good. Oh, and just look at the color on that. See that? Super tender after that time. About 6.5 hours, 4 hours naked in the smoker, another 2.5 hours in foil pans with barbecue sauce, covered so they steam and they absorb all that flavor. Oh, great use of chuck roast. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.